Deuteronomy chapter 13, Idolatry. You must observe and put into practice the whole command that I enjoin on you, adding nothing to it and taking nothing away from it. If it happens that a prophet or an interpreter of dreams arises in your midst and promises a sign or a portent, and if this sign or portent really comes to fulfillment, and it takes advantage of them to say, "Come, let us follow other gods, gods you have not known, and let us know them," you shall not pay attention to the words of this prophet or interpreter of dreams, because the Lord your God is testing you to find out if you really love him with all your heart and with all your soul. It is the Lord your God you shall follow, and him shall you fear. It is his commandments you shall observe. It is his voice you shall listen to. Him you shall serve, him you shall cling to. As for that prophet or that interpreter of dreams, he shall be put to death, because he has spoken to draw you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt and ransomed you from the house of slavery. This prophet must be put to death, because he wanted you to stray from the path that the Lord has directed you to follow. You shall indeed purge the evil from your midst. Even if your brother, the son of your father or of your mother, or if your son or daughter, or the wife you love, or your close friend secretly tries to lure you, saying, "Come, let us serve other gods," gods whom neither you nor your father have known, the gods of either the neighboring peoples that surrounded you along the boundaries of your land, or those far away, from any corner of the earth, do not yield to him or listen to him. You shall show him no mercy or spare him or shield him, but you shall unhesitatingly put him to death, and your hand shall be the first to be raised against him, and then the hands of all the people shall follow suit. You shall kill him by stoning, because he sought to draw you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, the house of slavery. All in Israel will hear of this, and they will be afraid, and never dare to do such evil in your midst again. If you happen to hear that in some of the cities that the Lord is giving you to dwell in, some evil people may have appeared among you, and that they have perverted their fellow citizens, and have invited them to serve other gods whom you have known, then examine the report and inquire carefully about them, so as to discover the truth of the matter. If it is certain that you have confirmed that such a detestable thing has indeed been done, you shall unhesitatingly put to the sword all the inhabitants of that city. You shall pronounce a curse of destruction on that city by totally destroying it and all that is in it, even the animals. Then you shall pile up all the confiscated goods in the center of the public square, and set the city on fire with all these goods as a whole burnt offering to the Lord. This city shall forever be a heap of ruins, never again to be rebuilt. You shall not take from that city anything placed under the curse of destruction, nor even the smallest thing, only thus may you appease the wrath of the Lord, that he may have mercy on you. Then he will increase you in numbers, as he had promised on oath to your fathers. Listen to the voice of the Lord your God by observing all his commandments that I enjoin on you today, and doing what is right in the sight of the Lord your God. Deuteronomy chapter 14, Pagan Practices. You are the children of the Lord your God, and so you shall not make ashes on your body, nor shave your heads as a sign of mourning for the dead. You are a people holy and consecrated to the Lord your God. The Lord has chosen you from among all the peoples on the face of the earth to be his very own people. Clean and unclean. You shall not eat anything that is detestable. These are the animals you may eat: ox, sheep, goat, deer, gazelle, roebuck, wild goat, ibex, antelope, and mountain sheep. You may eat any animal that chews the cud and has a cloven hoof, cloven in two parts. But of those that chew cud or have a cloven hoof. You shall not eat the following: camel, hare, and rock badger, because they do chew the cud, but do not have a hoof. These are unclean for you. Neither shall you eat the meat of the pig, because although it has a divided hoof, it does not chew the cud. Regard it as unclean. You shall not eat their meat or touch their carcass. Of all the animals that live in the water, you may eat the following: all that has fins and scales, but not those that do not have fins and scales. Consider them as unclean. You may eat all clean birds, but do not eat the following: eagle, vulture, osprey, buzzard, kite, the different kinds of falcons, all kinds of ravens, ostrich, nighthawk, seagull, and all the different kinds of hawk, eagle, owl, and ibis, swan, pelican, purple guinea-owl, cormorant, stork, the different kinds of heron, hoopoe, and bat. Consider as unclean all winged insects. You shall not eat them, but you may eat all clean birds. You shall not eat any animal that you find dead. You may give it to the resident alien who lives in your town, or sell it to the stranger. For you are a people consecrated to the Lord your God. You shall not boil a kid in its mother's milk. Concerning tithes, every year separate a tenth part from the yield of what you have sown in your fields, in the presence of the Lord, in the place he has chosen as the dwelling place for his name. You shall eat the tithes of your grain, your oil, and your wine, and the firstlings of your herd and flock, that you may learn to honor the Lord your God all the days of your life. The journey may be too long for you to bring those tithes to the place the Lord has chosen to set up his name. In that case, when the Lord your God blesses you, exchange them all for money. Take the money in your hand and go to the place chosen by the Lord. There you shall buy whatever you like, oxen or sheep, or wine or strong drink, or anything you like. And there you shall eat in the presence of the Lord your God, and rejoice, you and your household. And do not neglect the Levite who dwells in your town, since he has no share or inheritance as you have. At the end of every year, bring all the tithes of that year's harvest, and store them in the city. Then the Levite among you who has no share or inheritance of his own, the resident alien, the orphan, and the widow, who live in your towns, may come and eat and be satisfied. So the Lord will bless all the works of your hands, all that you undertake. Psalm chapter 77. I recall the deeds of the Lord. I cry aloud to God that he may hear me. In the day of trouble I seek the Lord and stretch out my hand untiringly in the night, my soul refusing to be consoled. When I think of God, I sigh. When I meditate, my spirit fails. You keep my eyes watchful. I am so troubled I cannot speak. I remember the days of old and consider the years long past. At night I consider and search within, and my spirit wonders. Will the Lord reject us forever? Will he never show his favor again? Has his steadfast love vanished? Has his promise ended for all time? Has God forgotten to be merciful? Has he in anger withheld his compassion? And I say, this is what makes me distraught, that the Most High no longer acts as before. I remember the deeds of the Lord. I recall his marvels of old. I meditate on all your work and consider your mighty deeds. Your way, O God, is most holy. Is there any God greater than you, our God? You alone are the God who works wonders, who has displayed your power to all. With power you have redeemed your people, the descendants of Jacob and Joseph. When the waters saw you, O God, when the waters saw you, they were afraid. The very depths trembled. The clouds poured down rain. The skies resounded with thunder. Your arrows flashed from every side. Your thunder crashed in the whirlwind. Your lightning lit up the world. The earth shook and trembled. Your path led through the sea, your way through the great waters, but your footprints were nowhere to be seen. You led your people like a flock by the hand of Moses and Aaron. Mark chapter 15, verse 26 to 47. Jesus before Pilate. Early in the morning, the chief priests, the elders, and the teachers of the crucifixion, people passing by laughed at him, shook their head, and jeered. Aha, so you are able to tear down the temple and build it up again in 3 days. Now save yourself and come down from that cross. In the same way the chief priests and the teachers of the law mocked him, saying to one another, the man who saved others cannot save himself. Let the Messiah, the King of Israel, come down from the cross, and then we will believe in him. Even the men who were crucified with Jesus insulted him. The death of Jesus. In the 6th hour, darkness fell over the whole land and lasted until the 9th hour. And at the 9th hour, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why have you forsaken me? When they heard these words, some of the bystanders said, listen, he is calling on Elijah. And one of them went quickly, soaked a sponge in sour wine, and putting it on a stick, gave him to drink, saying, now let us see whether Elijah comes to take him down. Then Jesus uttered a loud cry and gave up his spirit. And immediately the curtain which enclosed the temple sanctuary was torn down in two from top to bottom. And when the centurion who was standing in front of him saw how Jesus died, he said, truly this man was the Son of God. There were also some women watching from a distance. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James the younger, and of Joseph and Salome. They had followed Jesus when he was in Galilee and saw to his needs. There were also many other women who had come up with him to Jerusalem. The burial of Jesus. It was now evening, and as it was preparation day, that is, the day before the Sabbath, there came Joseph of Arimathea, a respected member of the council, who was himself waiting for the kingdom of God, and boldly went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Pilate was surprised that Jesus should have died so soon, so he summoned the centurion and inquired if Jesus was already dead. After hearing the centurion, he let Joseph have the body. Joseph took him down and wrapped him in the linen sheet he had bought. He laid him in a tomb which has been cut out of the rock, and rolled a stone across the entrance to the tomb. Now Mary of Magdala and Mary the mother of Joseph took note of where he was laid.